Hello everybody, my name is Melody Sanlin and this is my classroom management plan. The first thing I have is my mission statement. My mission statement spells out science. I am going to be a high school biology teacher and I felt like this was very appropriate. The first thing I have is S, which is for safety comes first. Safety is a very important part in the classroom and in the lab. My students have to follow all the rules to ensure the safety of them and their fellow scientists. C is for curiosity is welcomed. I love curious students. I love students that ask questions because I know that they are learning and discovering how the world works around them. I is for integrity. Integrity is always important. It's always appropriate to do the right thing, even whenever they think nobody is watching. It just makes them better people. E is for embracing your uniqueness. Everybody learns different, and that's perfectly fine. All my students are encouraged to embrace their unique talents and gifts to achieve the most out of their education. And while they're doing this, they are encouraging others to embrace their uniqueness as well. N is for neatness. Neatness is a must in a science classroom. After every class, I want my students to clean up the messes they've been made because biology can get really smelly really fast. C is for challenging yourself. It's okay if they make mistakes. We're learning. It's a process. Practice makes perfect. And E is for engaging your mind. I want my students to engage their mind because learning is always more fun if they have a positive mindset. These rules are to be followed every day, and I hope that they become better people from it. My classroom rules, I have 4 of them. The first one I have is conduct themselves in a manner that is responsible at all times. I don't want them to be misbehaving. I don't want them to be pulling pranks. I don't want them to be roughhousing. I don't want them to be running around or throwing items. All of this is just out of respect for their safety. I don't want them to get hurt, and I know labs can be exciting, but they have to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The second rule I have is also related to safety, and this is eating, drinking, chewing gum, applying cosmetics, messing with their contact lenses, or any type of other unsafe activity like pulling their hair up or wearing open-toed shoes. These things are not permitted in the laboratory. We'll be working with chemicals sometimes, and I don't want them to get it in their eyes or drop something glassware on their feet. So this rule is again set for their safety. The next one I have is students should actively participate in class and lab. When students are participating and engaged in the classroom, I know that they're learning, and that is something that they are there to do, is to learn. So I want my students to be active in the classroom. And the last one is absolutely no cheating. There will be no cheating on tests, quizzes, or homework. I just am 110% against cheating. My classroom consequences for breaking the rules. The first one is going to be a verbal reprimand. They will just be told not to do it again, 'cause I feel like they should have a chance to correct their behavior. If they do it again, they will have their verbal reprimand, and then they will get a phone call to their parents. Once they do it for a 3rd time, they'll get another phone call to their parents and they will receive detention, whether it's at lunch or after school. 4th time is an office referral. Now, these all are for all of my rules except for cheating. Cheating will result in an automatic 0 for that assignment. If it happens a 2nd time, then the parents and principal will be involved. I have multiple different classroom procedures. The first one I have set is for entering the classroom. Every day we will begin as soon as the tardy bell rings. My students will be considered tardy if they are not in the classroom, if they're not at their desks, sitting down, ready to work, or if they do not have their stuff out. When they're tardy, they'll be sent to the office to get an excuse, and so that's that. My second procedure is end of class dismissal. At the end of each day, my students are going to have an exit ticket they have to complete. They have to complete it, and I'll have boxes by the door that have all of their class periods. When they leave, they need to be set their assignment in that box, and they need to wait until the bell actually rings to do that. If they finish with their exit ticket before the bell rings, they just need to sit there quietly in order to let their other classmates do the work and give them the time that they need. My next procedure is on cell phones. Cell phones are a really big deal in schools now. Everybody has them. But in my classroom, they're not going to be out. I don't want to see them on the desk. I don't want to see the students playing with them. They will be turned off and kept in their backpack or on their person somewhere where it is not out and being used. The next thing I have is a little bit different than most people. This is regarding bathroom breaks. My students will be given what I call sand dollars. Sand dollars are just going to be a little piece of paper that have my signature on it. And at the beginning of each quarter, my students will be given 5 of these. The students will raise their hand to ask permission to use the bathroom. They'll turn in 1 sand dollar and then leave the room quietly. If they run out of sand dollars, they can still use the bathroom. They just need to raise their hand and ask permission and leave quietly as before. And the last one I have is checking roll. I will be checking roll every single day. For the first week, I will call it out and just have my students say here, and that'll just be for me to get to know them and learn their names. After that, I will have a roll sheet that has everybody's name printed on it and a place next to it where they can sign it. I will pass this roll sheet around the classroom at the beginning of every day. The students will need to sign their name and only their name. They can't sign their friend's name, and they need to pass it on quietly to the next student. My parent-student-teacher contracts. This is the first part I have, and this is for the parents. As parents, I want them to show respect and support for their child, for me, and for the school district. I want them to support the school's discipline policy. I want them to provide a quiet place for the student to study and complete their homework. I want them to help their kid with the homework if they need it. I expect my parents to attend parent-teacher conferences. And I would really like for my parents to talk with the kid about what they had going on at school that day. For the students, I want my students to always do the best work they can. I want them to be kind and helpful to their classmates. I want them to be respectful to themselves, to their classmates, to me, and to any animals that may come into the class. I plan on bringing many different types of critters into the class for learning, and if they wanted to see them, I want them to be respectful for them. I want them to obey the classroom rules and the school rules. I want them to come to class prepared. I want them to talk about their school activities to their parents, and most importantly, I want them to be willing to learn and to ask questions. This goes back to the curiosity thing again. I want them to be curious. And as a teacher, I will show respect to my students and their families. I will make the most out of teaching. I will provide a safe, fun learning environment. I will teach the Arkansas State Standards for Science. I will provide a meaningful application of homework. I will provide necessary assignments to parents so that they can help their kid with the assignments at home. And I will always demonstrate professional behavior and a positive attitude. For my reward system, I have a couple different reward systems that I plan on using. The first one is the golden ticket. This is something that I'm going to use to let my students get competitive. I'll have a golden ticket and it'll be used during lab time. This is to encourage my groups of students to work together quietly, to stay on task, and use their time efficiently. Whatever group I feel like is doing that the best, they will receive a golden ticket. The golden ticket could be turned in for prizes at the end of the week. Prizes can include sweets, bonus points, free homework passes, and sand dollars. My next reward system I brought up a little bit earlier, which is the sand dollars. Sand dollars will be used for bathroom breaks. Like I said before, they'll be given 5 at the beginning of every quarter, but they can also earn sand dollars. Sand dollars can be collected from my previous reward system, which is the golden ticket. If my class isn't very engaged in the discussion for the day, I'll bring up sand dollars as an encouragement to get them engaged in discussing. And so whoever answers the question correctly, they'll receive a sand dollar. And another thing that I'll use it for is getting 100 on a test. The sand dollars can be turned in at the end of the semester for bonus points. And I'm hoping this sand dollars will encourage students to limit the amount of disruptions in class caused by bathroom breaks, and that's why I plan on using them for the bathroom. Classroom signals, I have a few that I'll be using. I plan on staying pretty consistent throughout the school year. I'll do these in an order. They'll start out real fun, and then they'll get more serious as it goes on. The first thing I'm going to be doing is a call and response. Whenever I notice my kids starting to get really chatty, I'm going to say, all right, stop. And I want my students to return with collaborate and listen. This will be like something fun. It'll bring in some music that everybody knows. And it also relates to what I want my students to do. I want them to stop, I want them to collaborate, and I want them to listen. The second thing I'm going to do is try to be positive and reward them for stop talking. All I'm going to do is simply put my index finger on my nose. I'm going to be watching the room, and I'm going to see if the first 5 people will do it, and they'll get bonus points or no homework for that night. Something that will encourage them to not talk. And this way, my other students will try to get their finger on their nose quickly, and the classroom chatter will quiet down more effectively than before. If my students continue to talk and they don't stop talking, I will stop talking and look at the clock. While looking at the clock, I will be seeing how long it takes the students to calm down. However long it takes is time that they're going to have to spend after class with me or during lunch. They're using my time, so I'm going to be using their time. And the last one I'm going to use is if we're in a quiet only setting. Here I'll give one verbal warning, just like, hey guys, getting a little bit loud, quiet down. If they don't, I will be taking down the names of the ones that are chatty and start marking off points in my grade book. And the students will know that this is going to happen beforehand, so if they want to break the rules, they'll have the consequences. So that is my classroom management plan, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.